Our story starts at the beginning of a new century, April 19th in Des Moines, Iowa. It was the birth date of Richard Downing Pope. Some folks insist the event must have occurred in an Iowa cyclone. And that's the least amount of noise Dick Pope ever made. From Iowa, the family went to Minnesota, and the early years were punctuated with Dick's incessant chatter and a dazzling amount of mischief.
He's done it again! Oh, it's so embarrassing I could die!
Land's sakes, Inez, calm down.
But have you seen the yard? This time he's sporting cats to earn money.
There's nothing wrong with... Oh, my.
In 1912, the Pope family once again sought new horizons. Florida, at the beginning of the big boom, was just the place for Dick Pope, the budding entrepreneur, to bloom. And he did. Often when the elder Pope was out of town, the boy would mind the office. Once, by the time his father returned, the property had been shown and the deal arranged. He was 12 when he sold his first house. Young Dick was already developing his sales ability, not to mention his theatrical personality. An idea a minute. That was Dick Pope. Now, for any fledgling mastermind to fly, there's got to be one important ingredient. Someone foolhardy enough to try anything. By this time, there was a daredevil brother named...
Malcolm! Malcolm! I've got a great idea, Malcolm.
Yeah?
We get a boat and a big piece of board and some rope. I could tie the rope on the board. We could skim across the water. Now you get all the stuff.
Me? Why do I have to get all the stuff?
Because I've got to get the newsreel photographer to take pictures.
Aquaplaning was remarkable in 1917. And it was the beginning of the Pope boys' love affair with boats and water. For Malcolm, because it was exciting. For Dick, because he found out the newsreels would cover it. In fact, he found out they would cover most anything he thought up. Thus, he became an incurable promoter. And Malcolm became very busy. There was another aspect to Dick Pope's personality that exhibited itself early. He either liked something, it was fun, and he became very good at it, or he simply didn't do it. It was the beginning of a philosophy. At the time, golf, boats, and photography were fun enough to hold his attention. Well, sir, the vice president of the class graduated. But his dad's poor health temporarily put Dick in the real estate business. By the time he could get away to college, he was closing million-dollar deals. After only a few months at Stetson, the thought of all those people out there buying, selling, and building things was simply too much for him. It was the boom. He left and went in business with his father. But there was always time for... Yep, he was fast on his way to becoming Florida's amateur champion, though it was a golf tournament in North Carolina that profoundly changed his life.
Hello, I'm Dick Pope from Florida. And someday you and I are going to be married.
In Alabama, we like our jokes, but apparently not the way you Florida folks do.
Who's it from, Julie?
Well, it's from the young man who won the golf tournament today. He says he's going to marry me.
He sent a ball of cotton nailed to a card. Well, darling, at least it's not a fake. It's engraved.
Julie Downing became Mrs. Richard Pope on April 7, 1926. That was also the year that the Florida boom went bust. But when the props were pulled, Dick just got another idea. The fledgling Johnson Outboard Company was having trouble, and to him, it was quite simple. All they needed was Dick Pope. He and Julie were off to Waukegan, sending telegrams all along the way, and they bought it. He was a PR man at an outstanding $12,000 a year. For the camera, press, anyone who'd watch, he and Daredevil Malcolm staged boat shows and races, Johnson outboards against the others. Dick was the first to go off a ramp on water skis. Malcolm first to jump a boat. They'd do anything if the camera was rolling. Success became a PR firm with offices in Chicago and New York. Then, crash. The PR business in a depression is not fun. And if it's not fun, well, you know, the heck with it. He decided if he were going to go broke, he'd rather do it in Florida.
I read where this fella in South Carolina opened his plantation to the public. Calls it Magnolia Gardens. And he made $36,000 in 3 months. You like flowers? I think I could like them. If we went back to Florida...
1931, Winter Haven. Dick Pope sets out to transform a swamp into a paradise. The WPA, the city, the Chamber of Commerce, and Canal Commission were persuaded to join the Public Garden Project to the tune of $2,800. After a better look at the swamp, they backed out and got their money back.
Dick, really, everybody thinks we're crazy. Swami of the swamp. No money, no support.
Why would anyone think we're crazy? Tell you what, let's flip a coin. Heads we stay and go with it on our own. Tails, we go to Orlando and start over.
That sounds like a reasonably sane way to settle it.
With the aid of family and friend John Snively Sr., they took on the swamp. Dick plunged in beside a few dollar-a-day laborers, waist deep in mud. They cut the canals that drained the swamp. Already he could envision the sightseeing boats that would cruise among the cypress and islands. With Julie's green thumb and expert direction, he planted masses of bougainvillea, hibiscus, and
Azaleas.
How do you spell that? Never mind, it's too hard. We'll call them flame vines.
many of the first plants, said Pope, came from neighbors' yards. Photography was the biggest hobby in the world, and he knew just what he wanted, a photographer's paradise. Every path was laid out for balance, composition, and color values. And then he called the place Beautiful Cypress Gardens. A man's dream is something special, and when it comes to life, then he truly begins to live in the deepest and richest sense. Even problems were approached with new resolve. Dick Pope had noticed a potential problem. Florida's main roads had been built to miss Central Florida. A tourist would have to be considerably off the beaten path to find themselves at beautiful Cypress Gardens. This was the PR man's supreme challenge. He developed a formula. Our photographic materials times other people's money. It succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dream. He didn't wait on others to take the pictures. He sent out hundreds, thousands in gardenia-scented packets. In time, there would be hundreds of thousands placed in every major publication in the world. The newsreels worked once. He'd try it again. He sent film. Up north, people wanted to see a place where flowers were always in bloom. And it was always warm, at least on film. Any shot, any stunt, any event that could possibly receive space, he did it and got space.
Mr. Pope wants 5 pretty girls dressed up right away.
He wants 2,800 grapefruit this afternoon.
2,800?
Be glad he didn't think of that shot last week. We crowned the watermelon queen.
The media siege was working. The tourists started coming. And then World War II came. Dick left the gardens in Julie's capable hands.
Dear Joe, I put on publicity as my occupation. Apparently, the only opening under P was pole. I'm setting a telephone pole at the
Dear
west
Dick,
Nile.
keeping the place open after the freeze wasn't too difficult. I got some pretty girls, put them in antebellum dresses, and stationed them around the entrance. Those hoop skirts completely hid all that dead flame. Dear Dick, gas prices have completely stopped tourism. We've been trying to get the servicemen here to fill the gap. A group showed up yesterday. They'd seen your pictures of skiers and wanted to know when the ski show started. After a moment of shock, I rounded up the children. Downey, Adrian, and company put on quite a performance. It worked so well, I think we'll just have to keep it.
Julie had things well under control. The war ended, the PR man came home, and the tourist couldn't be far behind. Eight years after the first impromptu ski show, Cypress Gardens was known as the water ski capital of the world. Dick Jr. was setting water ski records. Everything worked. He took pictures, the press took pictures, the tourists took pictures. Then the super promoter promoted the big-time picture takers into coming, the movie makers. And even more tourists came to take pictures of the people taking pictures. And Dick Pope directed, or tried to direct, everything. Once causing Esther Williams to murmur audibly.
Mr. Pope, I don't know how we've managed to make all those movies in Hollywood without you there to direct us.
To him, TV was nothing more than a way to get the gardens into the nation's living room.
Well, with that, it is now time to get ready to do the story about the Princess Samal coming to Cypress Gardens.
Where he meets and falls in love with a beautiful swimming star.
That's the kind of thing that happens every day in your hometown.
Well, if it doesn't, it ought to. And in Florida, it should.
It's good.
Good.
Where does the sunshine as good as in Hollywood? In Florida.
In Florida, Cypress Gardens began, and alligators share a stand.
In Florida,
In Florida,
it's a magical land where lovers
of you is one block away. In Florida, in Florida.
You'll have a wonderful time. Just follow this rule. For when the whistle blows, everyone in the pool.
In Florida, in Florida. Let's join Esther in one of her flames. We'll join Esther and bring our water wings. In Florida, in beautiful Florida, beautiful Florida, beautiful Florida.
From Cypress Gardens, Florida, one of North America's beautiful outdoor locations, the Radio Bible class, Grand Rapids, Michigan, presents Day of Discovery.
Discovery, discovery, discovery.
He and his family were living the reality of his dream. Miles of film, hundreds of stunts, and dozens of beauty queens later, there was recognized success. Their dream had grown. Florida had grown. The success of Cypress Gardens was no accident, nor was the growth of Central Florida tourism.
Hey, the Daily News, one of the biggest papers in the world, is shooting. Hey, we've got a lot of photographers out there in those stands and photo bleachers, and I want you to be sure to smile as you go by, of course, but hold those flags as even as you can. And Dick, what is
I'm come from Denmark to Florida, and now I'm a friendly Floridian.
And we need lots of them, and it will be great for the state of Florida if we're just friendly to everyone that comes here. And citrus is at all times a big thing in Florida. And I think that all of us that are in the business of living in Florida and making a living here should try to help these kind of people. Now this, to me, is the finest thing in the world, and here's to your help.
To Dick Pope, promoting Florida, tourism, attractions is fun, and he's always ready to be a part of the fun.
Okay, good, good. Hi, Charlie. Look, I think they're fine. You're doing better all the time. I like that long hair. Hello. Oh, 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Walt, this is Roy. I've been telling you we ought to build that attraction. I'm at Cypress Gardens. It's 100 miles from nowhere. There isn't a major highway near here, and the place is drawing 4,000 to 5,000 people a day. They pay to see some kids water ski and to watch the flowers grow. Pope wants us to come in. Says what's good for Florida is good for everybody.
His knowledge and experience have always been available to the industry, often whether they ask for it or not. By 1965, he was known as the Tower of Tourism, and he took over Florida's sagging World's Fair Pavilion.
Everything there will be free. We are going to the World's Fair, as the governor said, not to make money, but to make friends.
In a year, it was #1 at the fair. There was only one disappointment. The Big Orange was to come back to Cypress Gardens with him, but the deal fell through. He's Mr. Florida, and the legends that have sprung out of his escapades are numerous and colorful. The press has had a ball with his carnival of a personality, but a few simple facts remain and often go unheralded. He has never said an unkind word about anyone. He values people and their ideas. He is a man with tremendous drive, talent, integrity, and most of all, a capacity for love.
Asset, I guess, that Cypress Gardens has is the family feeling that we all have. This has gone down through the years for 35
actual years. We have the loyalist alumni I think there is in the world. There's 5,000 or 6,000 kids that are all glad and happy and proud that they were performed and skied and modeled and made magazine pictures and television and everything here at beautiful Cypress Gardens. This is amazing. They're still here.
He just plain loves people.
High morale exists.
To Dick Pope, the most important thing his career has given him is friends. Those celebrities visiting the gardens have provided fuel for his publicity machine. They were valued far more highly than that, and they sensed it. Considering his unique qualities, the Swami of the Swamp, maestro of muck, probably would have been successful at anything he decided to do. But in this whole endeavor, he had a full-time partner.
Hi, darling, how are you? And I want to tell you something else. You can tell there's one thing about it. I was lucky enough to have a wife that not only is a green thumb, but she's had one thing, the most important ingredient of all successful businesses, and that's good taste. And thank goodness for my beautiful Julie from Alabama. And it's better, she is always coming into me with lists. But now, darling, oh yes. Down in the garden. Down in the garden we go. And we're going to look.
A lot of folks say it was Dick Pope who made Cypress Gardens successful, and it was Julie who kept it that way. However they accomplished it, people everywhere are glad they did what they did. And the people of Florida are sincerely glad that they did it here. But then, we all know, if it's in Florida, it's fun. And if it's not, to heck with it.